The May 30th Fighting Workout, Part 3. In Part 1, I started to discuss about the subjects and questions relating to how hard and light should I train and things I do to condition my hands. Part 2 went into more detail about the first question, and here in Part 3, I'll go into more details about the second question. If there are a few edited cuts in the video, I just wanted to get rid of any close-ups of people passing by. And finally, for this intro, to be fair and as a disclaimer, I am not recommending that you do any of these things I discuss in this video, and I'm not responsible for whatever you do for whatever reason. The things we discuss here can be extreme or involve some extreme elements, and people's body may respond in different ways. So whatever you do, be wise and informed about it. So in Part 1, I started with the context of on the street, bare knuckle. And I chose two relevant areas and aspects of or about the hands. The first was the wrist, and the second was skin condition and resistance to cuts. Getting right into my specifics, I did knuckle and fingertip push-ups daily. There were times toward the beginning when my knuckles were sore, skin tender, so I did just a few knuckle push-ups on those days. But within a very quick period of time, I did knuckle and fingertip push-ups every day, even if it wasn't a day to do other exercises like regular push-ups and other classic stuff. Then I started alternating the surfaces I did those push-ups on. I think for the most part, coarse surfaces were more about conditioning my knuckles. I used pebbles and gravel surfaces, jagged concrete, basically anything coarse. I alternated pressure on all my knuckles, making sure to get the pinky and ring finger knuckles too. The big ones are obviously the first and second digit knuckles, the ones I strike with the most. Once I felt stronger with these, I started striking hard surfaces, so this process was mixed with punching the heavy bag. But other than the heavy bag, I chose hard surfaces that had a thin outer layer or some aspect of softness. A perfect example was well-secured cork bulletin boards on walls, like at school. So there was a little bit of forgiveness involved. I also chose smooth walls. Very important to note is that I might do this 5 times for the entire day. 5 punches with each hand per day. That's it. There were times when it backfired. Times when I swelled up a knuckle, bruised a bone, and that really complicated things. And yeah, there were times I cut my knuckles or fingers. What I noticed about getting cut was that it happened usually from me dragging or scraping the punch during the point of contact. So that was actually helpful because some of those drags were wasted excessive movement and after the strike. So it reminded me to pop back or be accurate and drive the punch a bit more than dissipating through the drag away. As I confirmed my fists and skin were getting well conditioned and could take a lot more, I would walk through Manhattan to work, after work, the weekends when I was just hanging around, and I would punch all the steel posts for the overhead scaffolding that was everywhere because of all the construction going on. Those steel posts were mostly smooth, flat, and they felt more forgiving than brick walls. Then I increased my frequency of punching round steel poles. Look, socially, it don't really look cool. I must have looked crazy. Some people got intimidated. Others switched to aggressive mode because they figured a guy walking around punching poles and walls was some tough guy asshole. But for the most part, I was a lot more refined and clever about it. I was respectful. I didn't do hardcore stuff during rush hour with hundreds watching. I snuck them in, and I picked moments where it wasn't crowded. Maybe just a few people, maybe even 1 or 2 at any given moment who were paying any kind of attention saw me. One of the points here is that when I wanted to take it to the next level, I realized that I couldn't just rely on the sessions of a scheduled workout. I needed the time availability of the entire day. So like a revelation, I transformed and modified my daily life to incorporate behavior and activity that was basically training. I did this while I was attending university, and I did this at my jobs, and I certainly did this in my free time. It was the only way I could reach a ridiculous amount of repetition. When I walked along any brick wall, I inconspicuously grinded my fist on the wall while in coordination with my walking, or I would gently tap my knuckles, many times inconspicuously, like a guy just touching shit while he was walking. Other times I could specifically practice against a wall. I would do different angles, different punches. I think the uppercut is one of the more difficult ones. Even on boxing, heavy padded leather equipment, the uppercut sometimes sent sickly shockwaves through my wrists. I needed a lot of discipline to say, less is more, just back off. Also, I would alternate from fists to spear fingers and knife strikes, so I did all of that for some open hand stuff as well. And yeah, I've smashed my fingers, and they felt stiff and foul. Anyway, that's it for part 3. See you in part 4.